The hall was loud at first, full of lights, voices, and different alien faces. But when the old war dog was pushed onto the stage, everything went silent. It was a strange silence, the kind that made people hold their breath without knowing why. The creature stood tall but tired, its metal implants dim and its scales faded. Chains around its neck rattled every time it moved. No one wanted to go near it. Everyone in the auction knew this beast once fought in battles most people feared to even speak about. The auctioneer, a tall alien with 4 eyes, tapped the metal rail to start the bidding. His voice echoed through the hall. Here it is. Former war beast, trained for elite defense units. Slightly old, but still strong. Who wants it? His smile was wide, but his tone had no confidence. He already knew the answer. No one raised a hand. Some aliens whispered, "It's too old." Others said, "It's useless." A few laughed and shook their heads. Why would anyone buy that thing? It can barely stand. The war dog's ears twitched at every sound, but it did not growl. It only stared at the ground as if waiting for something that would never come. Its eyes were dull, like a flame that had almost died. The auctioneer tried again. Come on. Look at its size. Look at its implants. This creature served in the old wars. It protected emperors, generals, and whole fleets. He banged the rail again. Anyone? Anyone at all? Still nothing. That was when the door at the back opened and a human girl walked in. She was young, small compared to the aliens around her. Her name was Lyra. She held a simple backpack and walked with quiet steps. Her guardian followed close behind, worried about the busy hall. Lyra's eyes scanned the room. She wasn't interested in the glowing weapons or strange creatures on display. But then she saw the war dog alone on the stage, surrounded by empty space. Something inside her paused. She didn't know why, but she felt a sudden pull toward it. The auctioneer sighed. Fine. Starting bid is 20 credits. His voice was tired. That was almost nothing. Aliens laughed. Even 20 is too much, someone said. Maybe offer it for free, another joked. Lyra kept watching the beast. She moved a little closer, her steps slow, careful. Her guardian whispered, Lyra, stay back. That creature is dangerous. But Lyra didn't see danger. She saw fear. The war dog's paws shook slightly. Its breathing was uneven. It wasn't trying to attack. It was trying to survive. The auctioneer shrugged. 10 credits? Anyone? Silence. 5. Still nothing. Lyra raised her hand. The hall froze. The auctioneer blinked. Human girl, are you making a bid? Lyra nodded. Yes. Her voice was soft, but the whole hall heard it. Her guardian's eyes widened. Lyra. Some aliens whispered louder now. A human? Buying that thing? She's a child. She won't last a day with it. The war dog lifted its head a little, confused. No one had stepped forward for it in years. Its eyes met Lyra's and something flickered inside them, a tiny light. The auctioneer didn't argue. Sold. 5 credits. He slammed the final marker down. Lyra walked toward the stage. Her guardian followed, nervous but unable to stop her. The guards unlocked the chains slowly, ready to jump back if the beast reacted. The war dog didn't move. It looked at Lyra as if trying to decide if she was real. She stopped just a few steps away, her hands open and empty. It's okay, she said in simple, gentle words. You're safe now. No one had said that to the creature before. The beast lowered its head almost like a bow. The audience gasped. That was not war behavior. That was submission. Respect. Trust. Lyra reached out and lightly touched the creature's metal cheek. It did not pull away. Its breathing calmed. For the first time in a very long time, its eyes softened. Her guardian whispered, Lyra, what made you choose it? She looked at the war dog and then at the crowd. Everyone ignored it, she said simply. But I think it just needs someone to care. The aliens stared in disbelief. The auctioneer shook his head, speechless. Lyra lifted her backpack and turned to leave. The war dog followed her, slow but steady, like a shadow rediscovering its purpose. The hall remained silent long after they walked out. No one expected that moment. No one understood it. But something had changed the instant Lyra raised her hand. An old creature that the galaxy had thrown away had finally been chosen. And the war dog knew, its life was about to begin again. Lyra walked slowly through the busy starport with the old war dog behind her. Many aliens stepped aside, giving the creature a wide path. Some pointed, others whispered, but Lyra didn't look at them. She kept her steps steady, hoping the creature would feel safe enough to follow. The war dog's steps were heavy but careful. Its metal paws clicked against the ground and its breathing was rough. It had followed commanders once, then soldiers, then no one at all. Now it followed a human girl, unsure why she had chosen it. Lyra's guardian, Rylan, walked nervously beside them. He kept glancing over his shoulder at the creature. "Lyra, are you sure about this?" he whispered. "This thing is from old wars. There must be a reason no one wanted it." Lyra didn't answer right away. She looked at the war dog, watching how it moved. It didn't growl. It didn't snap. It only looked tired. "He's not dangerous," she said softly. "He's just scared." They reached a small rest area near a cargo bay. Lyra placed her backpack on the ground and sat. The war dog remained standing a short distance away, unsure if it was allowed to rest. Its eyes kept shifting from her to the crowd as if expecting an order. Lyra opened a small container of water and pushed it toward the creature. "Here," she said. "You can drink." The war dog stared at the container for a long moment. It did not understand kindness. For 2,000 years, water was given as a command: drink now, move now, fight now. This was different. There was no force behind her words, no fear, no strict tone. Lyra waited patiently. She didn't move closer. She didn't make him drink. The creature finally stepped forward. It lowered its head slowly and touched the water with its tongue. The taste was clean and fresh. It drank more, faster this time, as if surprised by how good it felt. Lyra smiled. "See? It's okay." Rylan watched with wide eyes. "I can't believe it listens to you." Lyra shook her head. "He's not listening," she said. "He's trusting." The war dog lay down, its legs folding beneath its heavy body. It watched Lyra with quiet eyes, trying to understand this strange human who spoke softly and waited instead of shouting commands. Lyra took out a small packet of dried fruit and ate some, then gently placed a piece on the ground near the creature. "Do you eat this?" she asked. The war dog sniffed the fruit. It wasn't something it recognized. It nudged it once, confused, then pushed it aside. Lyra laughed a little. "Okay, not your favorite." For a moment, the beast tilted its head as if trying to understand her laughter. Something inside its old mind stirred, something warm and familiar. Long ago, before wars and orders, creatures like it had lived in peaceful valleys on their homeworld. They understood calm voices, gentle touches, and safe spaces. Lyra reached forward very slowly and placed her hand on the beast's metal shoulder. She did not press hard. She simply rested her hand there, giving the creature the choice to pull away. The war dog did not move. Rylan whispered, amazed, "It trusts you already?" Lyra shook her head again. "Not yet. But I think he wants to." A small sound came from the war dog's chest, soft, low, like a rumble. It wasn't a warning. It was something closer to comfort. Rylan stepped back in shock, but Lyra only smiled. "You're talking, aren't you?" she said gently. The creature lowered its head and pressed its forehead lightly against the ground near her feet. Not touching her, but close enough to show it meant no harm. In its species, that was a sign of respect. Lyra's voice softened even more. "I'll call you Brutus," she said. "It's a strong name." When she said the name, the war dog blinked slowly. Something about it felt right, as if it had finally been given an identity that wasn't tied to war or orders. "Brutus." Rylan sighed and sat down too. "Lyra, I don't know what you see in him." Lyra looked at Brutus, who was still lying close, watching her every move. "I see hope," she said. Brutus shifted, lifting his head slightly. His eyes were no longer dull like at the auction. A small spark had returned, faint but growing. A sudden loud noise broke across the cargo bay, a dropped crate. Many creatures jumped. But Brutus did something different. Instead of reacting with fear or aggression, he took one step forward and stood between Lyra and the sound. He didn't attack. He didn't growl. He protected. Lyra touched his leg gently. "Thank you," she whispered. Brutus didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. He relaxed and lowered himself again, this time closer to her than before. Rylan stared. He protected you." Lyra nodded. "He knows I won't hurt him. Maybe he wants to make sure no one else does." The starport lights flickered above them. The air felt calm now, not tense like before. Lyra rested her hand on Brutus's warm metal shoulder again, and this time the creature didn't just allow it. He leaned into it just slightly. It was small. But it was the first true spark of trust. And for Brutus, after 2,000 years of commands, fear, and abandonment, that spark felt like the start of a new life. The starport grew quieter as evening approached. Ships came and went in soft waves of light, and most travelers hurried to their rooms. Lyra, Rylan, and Brutus stayed inside a small repair station that Rylan had rented for the night. The room smelled of old metal and warm circuits, but it was safe and quiet, something Brutus had not felt in a very long time. Brutus lay on the floor, his large body curled slightly, his metal pieces humming softly. Lyra sat near him with a small toolkit open beside her. She wanted to check the damaged implants on his neck and chest, but she moved slowly, always watching Brutus's eyes to see how he felt. Rylan stood near the doorway, arms crossed, still unsure about the creature. Lyra, remember what I said. These old war beasts have things inside them. Machines. Weapons. You need to be careful. Lyra nodded. I know. But I want to understand him. Brutus lifted his head at her voice. He didn't growl. He didn't move away. He only watched her hands carefully. Lyra gently touched the side of his neck. I'm not going to hurt you, she whispered. Her fingers brushed against a small metal plate that looked loose. The moment she pressed it, Brutus stiffened. His eyes glowed faintly for a moment, and a soft click echoed from inside his chest. Rylan stepped forward quickly. Lyra, stop. Something activated. But Lyra didn't move back. She kept her hand on Brutus's neck, calm and steady. It's okay, she said to both of them. Brutus let out a low rumble, a worried sound, not angry. Then slowly a panel near his chest slid open. Dust and old wires fell out and a small dark cube rolled onto the floor. Lyra blinked. What is this? Rylan bent down carefully and picked it up. A memory core, he said in surprise. These old beasts had them. They store missions, orders, history. Lyra looked at Brutus. Is this your past? Brutus lowered his head as if answering yes. Rylan placed the cube into a small projector on the wall. The device hummed and the room filled with soft blue light. Shapes appeared, blurry at first, then clearer. Lyra gasped. They were seeing Brutus's memories. The first image showed a green valley, bright with tall plants and soft light. Creatures like Brutus moved freely without armor or metal. They played, hunted, ran in groups. They were peaceful. Beautiful. Lyra whispered. He wasn't born for war. Rylan nodded. His species was taken by another empire long ago. They turned them into war beasts. The image changed again. Now Brutus stood inside a giant factory. Heavy machines attached metal plates to his body. Engineers installed implants along his spine. His eyes were full of fear, but he didn't fight. He was too young. Lyra covered her mouth. They forced him. The next memory showed Brutus running through a battlefield for the first time. He didn't attack anyone. He only protected the soldiers around him, using his shield plates to block fire and debris. Even in war he tried to save, not destroy. Lyra looked at the real Brutus lying beside her. You were never a monster, she whispered. You were a guardian. Brutus's tail shifted slightly, brushing the floor. The memory changed again. Brutus stood in a grand palace. A tall alien general was shouting at him. His armor was cracked, metal implants damaged. Brutus trembled but remained still, waiting for orders. Then came the moment that changed everything. The general pointed at him and said something that the projection translated, too old. Too slow. Replace him. Brutus was dragged away and thrown into a dark cell. No repairs. No rest. No more missions. Just silence. Just abandonment. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. They left him alone for so long. The final image showed Brutus being transported to the auction with rusted chains and broken implants. No one even looked at him. Then the memory stopped. The cube dimmed. Silence filled the room. Lyra walked closer to Brutus and placed both hands gently on his head. You were hurt again and again, she said softly. But you didn't stop protecting people. You didn't become cruel. You stayed kind even when no one cared. Brutus slowly lifted his head and pressed it gently against her arm. His eyes were warm now, not dull, not empty. They held something new. Oh. Rylan exhaled deeply. Lyra. This creature was trained for war, but he wasn't built for violence. He was built for loyalty. For protection. That's why he followed you. Lyra nodded. He remembers kindness. Even if no one gave it to him. Brutus let out a soft, deep sound, almost like a sigh. It echoed through the repair room like an old sadness finally leaving his chest. Lyra touched the metal implant on his neck. I'll fix you, she said. Not to make you fight. But to help you live. Rylan smiled a little, shaking his head. You really believe you can change him? Lyra looked at Brutus, who watched her with steady trust. I'm not trying to change him, she said. I'm trying to give him back what he lost. And for the first time in 2,000 years, Brutus felt understood. His past had been full of commands and fear. But now he had something new. A future, shaped by a human who finally saw him for what he truly was. The starport was calm at first. Ships landed with soft lights, workers walked through the halls, and machines hummed like a quiet song. Lyra and Rylan were still inside the repair station, checking Brutus's implants and giving him time to rest. The old war dog lay beside them, breathing slowly, feeling safer than he had in centuries. But just as the night grew still, the entire ground shook. A deep vibration moved through the walls, the floor, and even the air itself. Tools rattled on the tables. Loose wires fell from shelves. Lyra almost lost her balance. Rylan grabbed the wall. What was that? An explosion? Brutus jumped to his feet instantly, his senses sharp. His eyes glowed brighter, reacting to danger faster than any alarm. His metal tail lifted slightly, ready to defend. Another tremor followed, stronger this time. A distant alarm began to ring through the starport, its high-pitched sound echoing off every metal surface. Lyra looked at Brutus with worry. Something's happening. The old war dog moved to the doorway, lowering his body and scanning the hallway. He stood like a shield, blocking danger from reaching Lyra. Rylan hurried to the console and opened a view screen. The image showed the outside of the starport, ships shaking, lights flickering, and workers running. Something big is landing, Rylan said, eyes wide. Something heavy. A new alarm started, deeper and more urgent. Warning, unauthorized warship approaching. Lyra's heart tightened. Who would bring a warship here? Rylan shook his head. Probably someone searching for old war creatures. Someone who wants Brutus back. Brutus growled softly, not angry but protective. He stepped closer to Lyra, nudging her gently with his shoulder. He wanted her to stay behind him. Outside, the air filled with a thunderous roar as a giant ship descended. Its engines were so powerful that dust and crates lifted off the ground. The starport lights flickered again and again until half of them went out. Lyra peeked around Brutus's frame. Brutus, are they here for you? Brutus did not answer in words, but his eyes showed fear. He remembered ships like that. He remembered being taken, trained, used. He remembered the empire that once controlled him. And he remembered how they threw him away. Rylan grabbed their small bags. We need to hide. Now. But the moment they stepped into the hallway, the starport trembled again. A massive explosion hit the far gate. Smoke filled the air. People screamed and ran in all directions. Brutus pushed Lyra back with his body, shielding her from the falling debris. A metal beam crashed where she had been standing just a second ago. Lyra gasped. Thank you. Brutus didn't move from his position. He stayed there until the dust settled. Then voices echoed down the hall, sharp, cold, military voices. Find the creature. Search every room. It is worth more than the entire station. Lyra's hands shook. They are here for Brutus. Rylan whispered urgently, Lyra, we can still escape through the lower docks, but we need him to trust us completely. Brutus turned toward them, breathing fast, clearly remembering the fear of the empire that once owned him. His metal plates flickered as old battle protocols tried to activate. Lyra stepped forward and touched his chest gently. Brutus, look at me. The old war dog lifted his head. You're not theirs anymore, she said softly. You're with me. And I won't leave you. The heavy footsteps of soldiers grew louder. Shadows moved closer. Rylan pointed to a narrow maintenance hallway. Go. Now. Brutus quickly understood. He lowered himself slightly so Lyra could climb onto his back. She hesitated at first, but the hallway floor shook again from another explosion. She climbed on. Brutus bolted forward, moving faster than Rylan had ever seen. His paws hit the ground with loud metallic thuds. Sparks flew from his damaged implants, but he didn't slow down. Behind them, soldiers shouted. There. It's escaping. Block the exit. Brutus ran harder. He turned sharply, dodging falling lights, broken pipes, and rushing crowds. Rylan followed close behind, panting and stumbling but refusing to fall back. As they reached a long cargo tunnel, a metal door suddenly slid shut in front of them, an automated lockdown. Lyra held onto Brutus tightly. We're trapped. Brutus looked at the door, then at Lyra. Then he lowered his head and pressed against the metal. His implants began to glow, not with weapon energy but with raw strength. He pushed. At first, the door didn't move. It was thick, made to hold back explosions. But Brutus kept pushing, plates on his back heating up, sparks flying. His legs shook under the pressure, but he didn't stop. Lyra whispered, Brutus, You can do it? One loud crunch. Then another. Finally, the door bent just enough for him to slip through. He pushed Lyra through first. Rylan squeezed through next. And with one more desperate shove, Brutus forced his huge body into the opening and followed them. Behind them, soldiers reached the tunnel, shouting in frustration as the bent door blocked their path. Rylan gasped, catching his breath. He saved us again. Lyra looked at Brutus. His chest was rising and falling quickly, but his eyes were calm, filled with strong determination. She placed her hand on his head. You're not a war dog, she said softly. You're family. Brutus leaned into her touch. For the first time in 2,000 years he wasn't running from danger. He was protecting something he loved. And the starport, still shaking from the attack, echoed with the sound of a future that was beginning to change. The starport lights were still broken when dawn arrived, leaving the landing decks in a soft blue glow. The alarms had stopped hours ago, but the memory of the night still lived in every corner. Mara stood beside Rexo, her hand on the old war dog's metal shoulder. The creature was calm now, almost gentle, but she remembered how everything had changed only a few hours earlier. Rexo watched the starport slowly return to life. Ships rose and landed again. Workers cleared debris. Patrol guards walked in silence, still shaken by what they had seen. But beside Mara, the old alien war dog stood with quiet pride. It was the first time in years that it felt useful. Mara stayed close to it. She had always felt the creature's emotions even before understanding them. Today she felt something new, an emotion warm and strong, something like hope. The starport commander approached them. His voice was softer than usual. He kept looking at the huge scars along Rexo's body. The attack would have destroyed half the port, he said. But this creature, it stopped everything. Mara looked up at Rexo with a small smile. He only needed someone to believe in him. The commander nodded slowly. He protected you. That means more than any order or training. He hesitated, then added, the council wants to take him for military use again. After last night, they think he is too valuable to stay with a civilian. Rexo tensed, metal claws touching the ground. The creature had been a weapon all its life. It did not want chains again. Mara stepped in front of him. No, she said. Her voice was soft but steady. He stays with me. He saved this whole starport because he chose to. Not because someone forced him. If you take him away, he will break again. The commander studied her face, then the war dog's glowing eyes. After a long moment he sighed. Very well. But remember, the galaxy will talk about this. A human girl and a forgotten alien war dog. People will want answers. Mara nodded. Let them talk. Later, she and Rexo walked out of the broken landing deck. The morning sky was bright above them. Rexo walked slowly, adjusting to the calm after the chaos. The creature had been rejected for years, mistreated, chained, and left to rot. But Mara had bought him when no one else even looked at him. And because of that one moment, everything had changed. As they reached the open road that led toward the small transport she called home, Rexo lowered its massive head. Mara placed her hand between the old metal plates. She felt warmth under them, life soft and real. You're not a weapon, Mara whispered. You're family now. Rexo's tail, heavy and armored, moved just a little. It was not a normal wag, but it was enough. Together they walked toward a new future, one not controlled by fear or orders, but by the bond they had formed. A human girl and an unwanted alien war dog, shaping a story that would echo through many worlds. And in that quiet morning light, the galaxy felt just a little bigger, a little brighter, because two broken souls had found each other and decided not to break again.